Are you looking for the best breakfast spot in Gatlinburg, Tennessee in 2024? Well, this video has been made for you. So I actually went on a whim and I just Googled the best breakfast in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And I picked the top 3 highest rated restaurants to go try them out myself. So I spent a morning literally going to the top 3 highest rated restaurants in Gatlinburg. The top 3 that I went to are Crocketts Breakfast Camp, the Log Cabin Pancake House, and the Pancake Pantry. So in this video, I'm visiting all 3 of them back to back. I'm going to show you what I had to eat. I'm going to actually give it a review and give it a rating while I'm there in the restaurant. And then we're going to come back here and I'm going to pit these 3 restaurants head to head in a battle to let you know which one is going to be worth your time, your appetite, and your money. Before we jump into this video though, I want to let you know that my family and I have made an incredible resource for you when you're planning your next Gatlinburg, Tennessee vacation. And this resource is called the Top 5 Mistakes Families Make Every Single Year when visiting Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. We have hosted hundreds of families in our mountain home over the last several years, and we see honestly a lot of the same issues crop up time and time again. So if you would like to know what those top 5 mistakes are and tips on how you can solve it and not make the same mistakes others have, just visit the link in the description below and you can get your tips delivered straight to your inbox too. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the first place that we're going to visit this morning, and that's going to be Crocketts Breakfast Camp. Let's go. So on my walk over here, I was thinking, how am I going to compare these restaurants? And I think the way I'm going to handle it is that at each restaurant, I'm going to ask the waiter or waitress to basically recommend a dish. What do most people get and most people love when they come to this restaurant? But I'm also going to side by side kind of compare the pancakes, because I think, when you come to Gatlinburg and you see breakfast joints, you see pancakes and you think pancakes, right? So outside of those 2 things, I'm going to rate each restaurant based on 4 different criteria. The first one being the food itself, the second one being the atmosphere, the third one being the service, and the 4th factor is going to be the value. So basically, how much was the meal and do I think it was worth the money? All right, so let's talk about food first. Guys, it was amazing. So what I got was the signature corned beef hash breakfast. It is, the way they describe it here on the menu is slow cooked corned beef pan filled with diced tomatoes, green peppers, onions, and fresh herbs with 2 farm fresh eggs. I gotta tell you, I've never, ever had slow cooked corned beef. That was delicious. It was awesome. The eggs were good. I had scrambled eggs with it. They were fine. The potatoes I felt like were lacking, but it was unique. I'd never seen potatoes served that way before. It was good. The biscuit was absolutely incredible. And, but guys, what I really want to talk to you about is the griddle cake. So I actually got the griddle cake on the side, so you can do that here. So I got the signature corned beef hash breakfast, and I got the griddle cake on the side. The griddle cake, I've never had anything like it before. It was awesome. Light, fluffy, full of flavor. And their syrup that they have here, they serve it hot. It was absolutely incredible. So if I had to rate the food on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it an 8, right? The corned beef was delicious. The griddle cake was incredible. The biscuit was good, but I would imagine you'd get it similar to anywhere else. So I would give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's super fair for what I just experienced. Now, what I want to talk about though is the atmosphere, because anytime you go to a restaurant, you all know this, the atmosphere actually contributes a lot to the experience that you're going to have. And when we go on vacation, we want to have a great experience. This place is very cool. To be honest, it's my first time here. I came in out of the rainy, cold weather, and I cannot tell you what it meant to me to have a stoked fire burning as you walk in the door. It just hits you instantly. It makes you relax. It just makes you feel good. And it makes you feel like you're at home. I'll be honest with you. It makes you feel like you're at home. The entire restaurant as a whole basically makes you feel like you're living in a log cabin that was built in the late 1800s. It is awesome in here, and it definitely fits the vibe of Gatlinburg. It fits the vibe of old Appalachia. It fits the vibe of, being in the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Smoky Mountains. Very, very cool. It's entertaining, honestly, just to sit here and look around. There's plenty to look at. There's plenty to see. And, if you're coming for the vibes, this place definitely has the vibes. So as far as atmosphere, 10 out of 10. Would highly encourage you to come check the place out. If for no other reason than just It's an amazing experience to walk into and to eat here. All right, so third, service. This guy right behind me. So when it comes to service, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. It was awesome. I walked right in. Everybody was friendly. Everybody was pleasant. The food came within about 5 minutes of me ordering. Now, I will say it's late February, early March here. Actually, it's early March here in Gatlinburg. So it's not incredibly busy. But with that being said, it came quickly. It came hot. The waitress was incredibly pleasant and filled my coffee several times. And overall, it was a great experience. I'd give it a 10 out of 10 as far as service goes. And finally, we come to value. So the bill I just received is $23.88. Let's see if you guys can see that. So the total came out to be $23.88. For the plate that I had, it was about $14, and for the side order, the griddle cake that I had on the side, it was about $5. So the total is like $23 for one person. That includes coffee and water. I got water as well. You know, I would say I'm happy to pay that. I think it's a good price. I think it's a good value. The quality and the experience that I had being here in this restaurant, I think justifies the price that I'm paying. And you know, I before I leave, I want to mention this to you when you talk about value. I always try to keep in mind post-pandemic world, because I've seen a lot of reviews online where people's like, oh my goodness, that's so expensive. It is. I mean, it is. You know, gone are the days where you can go to breakfast and spend $8 and get a full plate of American food. Especially when you're in a tourist destination, a tourist town, where, you know, they make the bulk of their yearly income all within just a few months of the year. It's going to be expensive, relatively speaking, but I still think that the value's there. I still think it's worth the, you know, after I pay tip and everything, it'll be close to $27, $30, you know, for one person. So I think the value is there. I highly recommend this place. So let's go ahead and head over to our next stop so that we can compare this restaurant with our next restaurant. All right, so the next stop that we're going to be going to is the Log Cabin Pancake House. I'm really excited to test these two restaurants back to back to see how they stack up compared to each other and which one's going to win the battle of the breakfast this morning. Let's go. Hey guys, today's video is being sponsored by Shangri-La Views, a beautiful 5-bed, 5-bath cabin that has stunning mountain views seen from every single room of the house. This cabin is only 15 minutes away from almost everything you're likely to enjoy during a visit to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. Want to go to Anakeesta or the aquarium? It's like 10 or 15 minutes away. You want to go to Dollywood or the island? It's around 15 minutes away in the opposite direction. It's the perfect home base for your family during their vacation to the Great Smoky Mountains. If you're looking for a cabin designed to make lasting memories with those that you love, check out Shangri-La Views at the link in the description below to see if your dates are available. If they are, book your dates before they're gone. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, so I just got in and I ordered the Pancake Royale with a side of sausage. I'm really excited about this. My waitress said that by and far, most people who come here get those two things. It's either the French toast, the Royale French toast, or the Royale pancakes. Now, I figured I would take a second before my food comes and share with you something that I think is really important to understand, especially if you've never been to any of these restaurants before in Gatlinburg. The line gets long quick. If you don't want to wait in line, if you want to get to your breakfast quick in the mornings, I highly recommend looking up what time each of these restaurants open and being some of the first ones there. Typically, when the time gets to be about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, honestly, you're going to be standing in line, and some of the wait times for some of these restaurants can stretch up to an hour pretty easily. So I only say that to say, if you value your time here in Gatlinburg, if you've got a lot of things that you want to do with you and your family while you're here and you don't have a lot of time, make sure that you get the kids up, get the kids out, and get to the restaurants of your choice as fast as you possibly can. Okay, so I just finished, and I've got to tell you, delicious. Absolutely delicious. All right, so let's go ahead and score this place based on the 4 pieces of criteria that we're going to look at for this video. we've got food, we've got atmosphere, we've got service and value. So let's talk about the food. The food was absolutely exceptional. So I had the Pancake Royale. It's 4 golden pancakes topped with powdered sugar, banana wedges, and their very own royal sauce. Now I will say, this thing is absolutely delicious. It is sweet enough on its own. The waitress even warned me. She came to the table and she said, okay, so before you put syrup on this, try it first. Because if I put syrup on top of it, it just would have been far too sweet, even with black coffee, because I enjoy drinking black coffee. Speaking of black coffee, I can't have my breakfast any other way. How do you guys take your coffee? Do you drink it black? Do you put things in it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always fascinated because I love coffee. It's honestly one of my favorite things in life. The pancakes Royale were delicious. The side sausage that I had was okay. I mean, it was just okay. It wasn't awesome. Honestly, it kind of seemed like it was sitting underneath a heating lamp. It was a little dry, but it was fine. It was fine. It balanced out all the sweetness from the pancakes really, really well. All right, so number 2, let's talk about atmosphere. So this place is awesome. So when you think of Gatlinburg, when you think about Appalachia, much like the last place that we just came from, this has very much a log cabin kind of feel. When you're here, you really have this very warm, cozy feeling. It is a little darker inside. They've got nice, low ambient light. It's just very, very comfortable. They've got a gigantic fireplace on the far wall over here. It just feels warm and cozy. I wouldn't say that it's as interestingly decorated as the last place that we just came from. In the last place, there was definitely more to look at. But, as far as the atmosphere, it's very clean in here. It smells fine. When I came to the table, everything looked very clean and very, very well put together. So really no complaints. All right, so let's talk about service. Service was awesome. No problems at all. Got to after waiting in line for about 20 minutes or so, I was able to come in. The waitress was amazing. Everybody calls me honey and sugar. It definitely makes me feel good. And didn't have any problems at all. They kept my coffee and my water full the entire time. And everything was great. The service was awesome. So finally, let's talk about the value. The final ticket is $16.40. And again, that's for the specialty pancakes that I had with a side of sausage and coffee. So honestly, I feel like the value is there. That's fantastic. Compared to where we just came from, this is definitely on par or a little bit cheaper. After paying tip and everything, it'll be $22 that I'll pay having come here for breakfast. And honestly, I think the value is there. What I feel like I got for what I paid is really, really fantastic. Now, one thing I want to mention really quickly, and I'll talk about this again just a little bit later when we get to our next stop, but the only downside to this place, which again is kind of a pro, the only downside is that it's a bit of a walk. If you're planning on trekking up from the main strip in Gatlinburg, it's going to be a little bit of a hike to get up to this spot. We are probably half a mile up once you turn up on Airport Road to walk up the hill. And so it's a bit of a hike. Now, I will say, you'll be thankful that you made that hike once you eat these pancakes, because I'm sure there's a lot of sugar in there. It's not healthy. It's not a healthy breakfast. It's delightful. It's amazing. It's not healthy. So you will be glad that you took the hike, that's for sure. But it is a little far away. Now, I will say the opposite side of that is that this is the one location, or this is the one breakfast spot that we're going to take a look at today that has great parking really, really close by, right here on site. There's lots and lots of parking. I feel pretty confident there's enough parking for everybody who's here. So parking's not a problem. And honestly, what I would encourage most of you to do if you wanted to try Log Cabin out is to come here, park on site, have breakfast, and then drive down into Gatlinburg to spend the rest of your day on the main strip. All right, so let's rate it. Food, I would give it overall a 9 out of 10. Not 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Again, the pancakes were absolutely phenomenal. I cannot make those myself at home, so that's very cool. But the sausage could have been better. Again, like it just kind of felt like they pulled it out of a freezer and stuck it under a heating lamp. So I'll give it 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Still very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm still very happy that I came here, but it's 8 or 9 out of 10. All right, so now for the atmosphere, I would give the atmosphere kind of an 8 out of 10. It's not as interesting of a place to experience as the previous was. This has a little bit more of a cafeteria style feeling when you come inside. Again, you feel like you're in a gigantic log cabin, which is very, very cool, but it's very packed in here. You've got lots and lots of tables, lots of people kind of crammed in together. So it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but probably not the best scenario. So I'll give the atmosphere an 8 out of 10 as well. Service, absolutely 10 out of 10. Didn't have any problems. I really appreciated our waitress. She was absolutely amazing. And then the value, I think the value definitely would also be a 10 out of 10 because I feel like we definitely got amazing food, amazing service, and a great atmosphere for what we paid. And so for $16, 2022 after tax, I feel happy giving this place a 10 out of 10 on value. All right, so let's walk over to the Pancake Pantry, our last stop of the day. Guys, I'm getting full. Thank goodness I've got a little bit of a walk. I'll see you over there. Let's talk about it. So I just finished my breakfast here at the Pancake Pantry, and honestly, I have kind of mixed emotions about it. So let's go through each category individually. Food. So the three things that I actually had here was the first thing the waitress recommended was the Morning Star. It's this breakfast where it's eggs and hash browns, cheese, lots and lots of vegetables like cut up peppers and mushrooms, and it's kind of all thrown together into this scramble. It wasn't very good. I was really, really surprised. I was really hoping for more. So I'll talk about that more in just a second. And then I asked her for the pancake just so we can compare pancakes among the three different places. So I got the pancake. It was okay. It was fine. I think it was really okay. I will say that the syrup that they use here, I much, much, much prefer the syrups from the other two. Over this is a lot more watery, and I'm no food crate, right? So like, this is not something that I want to get too far into. But even the syrup at the other two were better. It was a hot, warm syrup. It was very, it was a very thick syrup. And the pancake was just fine. All right, but let's talk about the wild berry crepes. Guys, if you come to the Pancake Pantry, you're not really coming for the other things that the Pancake Pantry offers. And honestly, I wouldn't even come for the regular pancakes either. What you're coming for is the really dope variety of custom crepes and pancakes that they can make for you. I think that that's really where the strength of this place lies. You know, if I were to say the meal overall, what would I give it? I mean, overall, including the Morning Star, including the kind of very average pancake, a very average syrup, I'd probably give it overall a 6 out of 10. Not terrible, but it's not awesome either. If you were to ask me about just the wild berry crepes though, it would be easy a 10 out of 10. So again, I really think that the strength of this place comes from that. And so I really want to encourage you, if you come to the Pancake Pantry, if you come to check it out, definitely go for their specialty creations. That's definitely, I think, where the strength of this place is. All right, so number 2, let's talk about atmosphere. So when you walk in, probably one of the first things that you're going to notice are these beautiful tall windows. Tons and tons of natural light flood into at least the front of the restaurant. And if you are lucky enough to be able to sit up here, you're really going to enjoy being able to see everybody walking by, especially if you're a, what do they call it, a people watcher? Especially if you're a people watcher, you're really going to enjoy watching people outside as they kind of walk up and down the street. Gives you a lot to look at. It's very entertaining. And it is beautiful on the inside. It's very, very clean, and it smells good. Like all the normal things that I would think about and worry about when I'm going to a restaurant, it kind of checks all those boxes. It feels very comfortable. It feels very cozy in here. So from all those perspectives, I think it's a win. I would easily give atmosphere a 10 out of 10. All right, so number 3, let's talk about service. So service here is incredible. The waitress that I've had was fantastic. She was on top of it the whole time. And she was very accommodating. She was very helpful the entire time. So I'd easily give service a 10 out of 10. All right, so the final thing is the value. So the total for the Morning Star, the coffee, and the crepe, and she did kind of a custom like thing where apparently like it kind of comes with pancakes, and I don't know. I'm not sure how it came out, but the total came out to be about $19. Is it a good value? Yeah, I mean, that's questionable. I think whether it's a good value or not really comes down to what you get when you're here. And I don't know that that's true the other places, but here, you know, I would say $20 if I had just come and just gotten the Morning Star. If I had just come and just gotten plain pancakes, probably not. But with, again, their custom creations and the things that they have here, it is a strong, strong, strong yes. So really, it just comes down to what you get. Now, the final thing I want to talk about really quickly, and I think this is worth mentioning, is location. So we tested out 3 different restaurants today, and honestly, the other 2 restaurants were a little bit further away from the main action of Gatlinburg, what I would say. Now, a pro to that is that they're a little bit easier to get to. So parking lots, parking spaces, you're likely to find a place pretty easy, and getting access to those restaurants isn't so tough, isn't so difficult. Here, it's kind of a pro, it's kind of a con. The con is the Pancake Pantry is a little bit more difficult to get to. You either have to pay for parking at one of the lots that are pretty close by in order to walk here and to be able to eat here, or you're gonna be walking a pretty good little distance. There's definitely no parking available right here. But that con is also, to be honest, its own pro. And the pro is it's right here in what I would consider to be the action of Gatlinburg. It's down on the Pigeon Forge side of the main strip. You know, within a block, you've got Anarchista. Within a block, you've got the aquarium, which I think are the 2, big attractions down here. There's also the coasters and some putt-putt courses and things like that. So within steps of the restaurant, you've got tons and tons of unique shops to look at as you're waiting to come in and have breakfast. Right next door, there's a candy shop, and they've got a gigantic taffy machine that's like pulling the taffy and pushing the taffy. My family and I have come here before, and my boys love seeing that. So even though it's difficult to get to, in a lot of ways, it's kind of beneficial, because if you do choose to pay for parking, let's say right next to Anarchista, for instance, that's a full day pass. It's like $20 typically for an entire day. When I say an entire day, I mean a whole 24 hours. So, if you come in the evening, you've got until the evening the next day. At that point, it's not that big of a deal. You just walk for about a block to get to the Pancake Pantry, and you've got close parking access to, again, all of the major attractions that are here in downtown Gatlinburg. So it's a con. Not being able to get here easy is a con if that's what you need, but it's also a pro, because if you're planning on visiting the other things here in Gatlinburg, if you're planning on doing some window shopping or actually buying something here in the unique shops that are right next door, especially here in the village. All right, so with all that being said, let's head out of here. Let's head back to the cabin, and let's round up this battle to see who the winner is. All right, guys, welcome back. Now we've got to identify who was the winner of the breakfast battle. Who is the king of pancakes when it comes to Gatlinburg, Tennessee? Now, I've got to tell you, I was shocked, because every single year, my family and I always visit the Pancake Pantry. This is a place that we've come to love. And if you visited Gatlinburg anytime, well, at least during the kind of peak travel times, peak tourist times, then you'll notice that there's always a line outside of the Pancake Pantry, always. Now, I've always had a great experience there, but this time the main dish just wasn't that great. If you go to Pancake Pantry, I highly recommend that you go after the crepes, you go after the pancakes, this kind of special pancake creations that they have. That's where it's at. So for those reasons, I've got to place the Pancake Pantry in 3rd place. I know, I'm shocked too. And that doesn't mean that the Pancake Pantry isn't good. It is still delicious, and it's worth visiting. Just wasn't my top pick, okay? So now, between the Log Cabin Pancake House and Crocketts Breakfast Camp, who is number 2 and who is number 1? I've got to say that as much as I love the breakfast at the Log Cabin Pancake House, it's got to go 2nd place. It, again, still really good. Just read all the reviews on Google. It's delicious. It's worth going to. It's worth visiting. It just didn't match the experience that I had at my 1st place pick, which is Crocketts Breakfast Camp. That's my 1st place pick. Now, I've got to tell you that, again, all 3 of these restaurants are absolutely phenomenal. They're all worth trying. But Crockett's just edged ahead when it came to atmosphere. I mean, when you walk in, you really honestly feel like that you're at a breakfast camp, like in the middle of nowhere. And it was just a very cool atmosphere and a very cool experience. The food was delicious. The service was on point. I thought that the prices were very, very reasonable. And while you won't go wrong with visiting any 3 of these breakfast spots, I got to give my top pick, my top recommendation to Crockett's Breakfast Camp. If you haven't visited before, you got to give it a shot the next time that you come to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Now, I've got to say, Crockett's was my top pick. It was just the one I like the best. Let me know which one you love the best. If you've been to all 3 and you have an opinion, if I got it wrong, tell me below. Leave a comment and let me know which one is your favorite restaurant and why you love going there. It's really interesting because I have found, the more people that I've talked to, that there are some places that families just go to every single time they come to Gatlinburg. For me and my family, it was always the Pancake Pantry, right? I was talking with another family when I was standing in line at the Log Cabin Pancake House, and that's the place that they always visit every time that they come to Gatlinburg. So if you have a favorite, if your family has a favorite, let me know in the comments below, and share with everybody else. Share what your experience has been so that everybody can make the best, most fully informed decision on where to get the best breakfast when they come to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We make content like this and publish content like this every week because we know that the time that you spend in Gatlinburg, in Pigeon Forge, is precious. The time that you're spending with family needs to be intentional, and you want to make sure that the things that you're doing while you're on vacation is worth your time and your energy. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. So long.